Zhōng Zhō Jie Zhāng Nam Ngā Chāng Chō Bār Dō Dā Nē Gyab Sōng Jie Dā Gē Jīn Sōng Jī Bē Sōng Nam Dō Lā Bēn Jie Sāng Jie Dō Bā Rā Shō Sāng Jie Chē Zhōng Zhō Jie Zhōng Nam Ngā Chāng Chō Bār Dō Dā Nē Gyab Sōng dā gē jīn sō jē bē sō nam jē dō lā bēn jē sāng jē dō bā rā shū sāng jē shū dāng sō jē sō nam chāng chū bār dō dā nē gyab sōng jē dā gē jīn sō jē bē sō nam dō lā bēn jē sāng jē dō bā rā shū. From now until enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all thinking beings. From now until enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all thinking beings. From now until enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. Kongdan Rinpoche, in his text, he had this advice. There's a verse in which he says, even if you manage to fill up the entire valley with golds and treasures and wealth, when you leave, you cannot take even the smallest of it. Instead of that, if you recite even just a 6-syllable mantra, that will become something carry along the way that will support you in the future. And here he's using this example, obviously. And of course, as a human being, to survive, we has to have necessities, to support our livelihood. But he's advising not engaging in the life which is totally focused on accumulations of wealth beyond its limit. And because doing that, in the example, when you are able to accomplish, filling up entire valley with golds and treasures, first of all, there is no guarantee that whether you are going to you're going to enjoy those or not by yourself. And secondly, those that you leave behind, there is no guarantee that whether those wealth that you have accumulated will put into a constructive good use or not. If those were put into bad, negative, activities, it might be kind of, it become worse than what it should be. So, therefore, what is important is doing something which is beneficial not only for this life but for future journeys, such as he used an example here. Just reciting, 6-syllable mantra and then leaving, and that will, that example, that will leave imprints on mind, sixth consciousness, and then it will go on to future, can benefit at the time of dying, during the intermediate stage, able to recognize the true nature of mind and attain liberation. And if not, it will go further into the future and ultimately kind of becoming something, factor cause for the, ultimate enlightenment. So he talks about the importance of sense of contentment or satisfaction. So to make our life meaningful, as advised by many Buddhist spiritual masters and teachers, such as His Holiness the Dalai Lama, doing everything and the best as we can in creating a positive activities, and as much as we can, without actually having a sense of kind of contentment or satisfaction, and creating a positive activities, in its kind of entirety, in complete form. Meaning, having a preliminary and then actual act and then conclusion part. Preliminary, beginning with good intentions, such as intention of altruistic mind, and then when you engage in the actual act, that should be genuine, and then at the end, ending up with the dedication, and doing
everything that we can at one's best kind of capabilities, depending on one's physical ability, health, timing, but doing best. And then on the negative side, abstaining as much as we can in creating a negative activities. If possible, kind of complete abstention. If not, reducing, engaging in negative activities. So this kind of very all kind of practice can turn one's life into a meaningful, something very beneficial, something just a good life. And that kind of practice, it's definitely not easy, and it shouldn't be doing under the influence of purely kind of emotional, kind of condition, because we do. There's sometimes, like when we are emotionally very kind of motivated, we try to achieve something in a very short time with making greatest effort, but without continuation, without a regular those things that is based on emotion doesn't work. And for here also kind of very beautiful verses from same author Kongdan Rinpoche. He mentioned that somebody who is expecting becoming a great scholar just after kind of engaging in the practice, and but then after 3 days totally kind of giving up and losing interest, and for that kind of practitioners, that kind of person, nothing will achieve. And therefore what is needed is a regular constant effort, like a stream of water. And so as mentioned before, we often kind of engage in what he is saying here out of strong kind of interest or desire or emotion, and then make lots of effort expecting to get a result within a very short time. But then after a couple of days or several days, when we see nothing, then we totally give up. And so for that kind of approach, and nothing will attain. And that kind of approach, and then hoping to become a great scholar or great practitioners, the hope is simply kind of empty. We'll continue with the reading. It's on page 92. The text says, engage vigorously in forceful cultivation and abandonment. Geshe-la is saying that since there are several different, root text. Root text itself is a kind of node. So several different root texts, but this he looked at two different root texts, but he couldn't find this in Tibetan. However, in your English translation, it is in there. If you look at the just root text at the beginning of the book, engage vigorously in forceful cultivation and abandonment. In general, we are not supposed to employ a force towards human or inhuman beings, because it will provoke their anger, and the inhuman beings holding a grudge will harm us in this and future lives, as well as in the intermediate state. Amongst human beings, we should not behave forcefully towards those who have been kind to us, or even towards our relatives and servants, otherwise the help they may have previously given us will become worthless and cause of anger. Towards whom, then, should we be forceful? In general, all the faults of cyclic existence arise from its origin, action, and disturbing emotions. And actions are produced because of disturbing emotions. Since among all disturbing emotions, the misconception of self is chief, or self-grasping. All our spiritual practices of hearing, contemplation, and meditation involving our body, speech, and mind should be concentrated forcefully on eliminating it. So here it talks about vigorously, in forceful cultivation and abandonment, using basically, as you see, using a force. And as mentioned here, one shouldn't be using a force towards human or inhuman, because those won't have any end up in positive result. But where should one use? In brief, it talks about using force vigorously as much as you can in kind of sort of destroying disturbing emotions and its origin and action. And usually we say karmic action and ignorance. So those are the two that we should use everything, every forces to destroy, to diminish. And here basically what we see is same thing that was mentioned by Gyewa Gyundundrup, the first Dalai Lama. We need to destroy the enemy that is within us. And this kind of targeting enemy within us, disturbing emotions or ignorance, is something kind of unique in Buddhism. We won't usually see this kind of target, very specific, and then kind of destroying and diminishing in other belief system or religious practices. Even in Buddhism, we find a different school of thoughts. The lowest school of thoughts being particularist, even though they don't interpret or kind of accept the concept of selflessness of phenomena. They are kind of lowest, but still in their philosophy, being a Buddhist, they talk about challenging, destroying, eliminating, the karmic ignorance and action.
제안도 어떻게 어디 전주 특색들은 투용 거예요. 근데 인서 묘모도 숨데 아랑 풍바잖아. 아랑 맞에 젠 풍바잖아. 탄제 라바잖아. 코로가 감성 코로나한테 둥왕용한 내 죽은데 단지 말이 그 소울 주인 예대 묘모도 있잖아. 미래의 영향이 맞아. 이라 맞아. 집 안에 가서 펀드 중에 나다. 이 동탑지네. 입장한다. 그 타싱에 타마타마 때문에서 내내 냐데 주야. 얘는 펀드 마저 봐. 미네 냐데 지 말람 때문에 주야에 하고 싶다네. 오늘 묘모를 갖다 맞아버려. 영화 거래요. 대인들 지 시부시. 어떻게 다죽제사 때리니까 문제 때는 거 알았어.
In fact, from the point of view of the Mahayana practitioners, using a force or maybe harming to other sentient beings, human or inhuman, is very inappropriate. Instead, they deserve compassion, a practice of compassion, and then they should be looking, as an object of compassion. So, because they themselves, the others, basically other sentient beings, won't be able to kind of bring any harm to yourself or to practitioner. And when we look at who is causing the main, suffering, who is causing us downfallment, is as we see here, among all disturbing emotions, the misconception of self is cheap, self-grasping mind, and through that, karmic negative action and ignorance, and these are the one that we should be targeting. Three poisons, and because these are the three poisons in self-grasping, negative karma and action. These are the one that destroy us, bring us harm.
뇽 점제 맞았어. 자니 세트 세기고 자긴 고 제경라. 남바군도 뇽모게 나랑 이번 미자고. 어디다 세고 숨고도. 그렇지. 아니 지 뇽모고 아 라긴디라 젠제스. 율제데스. 답에 합상모마 율제상 얼마데? 뇽모가 돼. 소수 뇽모. 답이 뭐네? 도와 리치 삼빌라 수수 코페나라 도샤라 소바 니시라라 소바 키용도가 마세 소용도 렌상 고 아니 랑 균도 가세 미시 토나 대자데 대상지 균도 에네베 간리시 낭 투빈도 에 칼라지잖아디 균도 에네베 수수 가사제나 차단 무슨 뭐 느끼는 게 칼라데라 이 두명씩 차고 와. 근데 돌아지네. 돌아오게 됐자도 용통인도. 이거라서 오늘 용도. 인데 인사 차강 무슨 좀 이렇게 답에 미겨와서 본디 일제가 잡고 인데 매서 그래 쓰고. 이 아니 균도 다 땡고르마다 니마티체 니마체 마체 되거나 요아요. 균도 니 요가 해마지나 같으니 요가다 같으니나 고 니마 남자 제고가 자진 제외이나 거의 사드 상제니 때 다다 내거와 귀는 정말와 보다 대나 진짜 정말 손님들은 하기 타용도가 요 같으나 그 한번 중간 맞게 답시 이나니 깨용도가 무슨 맞지 아니 딜 진주네 아니 즉 교접인 교사지 또 세미 가다가리 뭐 타승에 진짜 얼마나 또 용어야 용해요. 대인들가 용어는 오니 가라 녀몽베 자만도 조주면 쳐서 누기가 말이지 거체나 라이스데 그 룽게레 수고다 되니 남바건도 녀몽은 다른 디바미 차오 이베 이 거기나 자타 마타사 뭐 마타사 랑 코벤이 얘기 아니 다 단지 말이 또 줄비 아니 라친지 단지 티니 이제 잘해서 왔다 녀몽 되게 녀몽 이게 지시동 이게 순도아 왔다 되게 들라 이제 자 땅만 따와래 이제 순도아 왔다 이 순고 제 순바다 단지 공화다 제 딱히 순가 단지 방고 되게 인자 단지 풍고 gente per bello combatteva la bet 제발 betto so what 지 란친진 이 랑풍 받지 그래 젠친진기 랑안에 배 더듬 죽고 이빈 더듬 차상지 젠친진 죽고 띵가 얘는 배 우리 so what 도 신수도 delta야 랑친진 포알라 디고 유전 탐제 유전 탐제 점벌자지 예수 아니 든든히 티지서 유전 점벌자지
그래서 자와
점벌자지 아니 완전히 니네요 말이야 이놈인도
there's a quote from Shantideva's text. The guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life says, "To do this will be my sole obsession. Holding a strong grudge, I shall meet them in battle. So here a disturbing emotion can destroy other disturbing emotions, but not otherwise. It would be better for me to be burned, to have my head cut off and be killed, than ever bowing down to my enemies, the ubiquitous disturbing emotions." So here Shantideva kind of tells not surrendering at all to enemy that is within, primarily self-grasping or misconception of self, and then all other afflictions. Even if you need to burn or cut off your head or kill, but those are kind of options sort of better than bowing down to your enemy within. And so the battle in which we are fighting, encountering, is our enemy is disturbing emotion. That's the one that we should be targeting, and because disturbing emotions, are always and very easily kind of cause us all kinds of suffering. Simply, kind of temporary, attachment or hatred or anger. We can see how much just that kind of thought for a moment will give us uncomfortableness, uneasy, not just within one's own mind, but when you look out and interact with outsides, such as seeing or meeting people that you care, love, because of emotions inside, negative emotions, you don't have the same feeling towards them. It has it can influence, and likewise, tasting a good meal or wearing a nice clothes, because of the internal emotional changes or disturbances, you won't be able to enjoy those external kind of experiences, and that kind of the engaging in the battle, conflict, should be something that we that is kind of regular like yoga practitioners, they engage in yoga continuously, regular basis, in order to maintain good physical health, and likewise should have the same kind of approach in fighting or destroying inner enemies. Uh, So we must persevere in combating the misconception of self and familiarizing ourselves with concern for others. So to begin with, if possible, from the very beginning, try not to let those destructive or negative emotions arises in our mind. If somehow you lose that control, and if they are generating or arising or experiencing, then try to apply antidote. And through applying antidote, try to bring down its intensity. Again, if possible, try to eliminate it completely. If not, just apply a gradual process of making those destructive emotions kind of less intense or less stronger. Regarding what we must do to give up self-centered attitude, the text says, subjugate all the reasons for selfishness. Ken Geshe-la is saying that this is the root text in the translation. It is in the root text in translation, but this is also he couldn't find in the Tibetan text.
전주면 대화지 때나 대단지 자와디 니게나 미도스 디나 자와다 강가장 왔어 디니가라 디 자와 예쇼지 저와 임바세 계시게 산다 좋아 자와 빼 몽고야르서데 경고르무지 아마 니가라 송수 경고르무지 자와 숨나메야 도디 도금 테마체가 요르서 경고르무지 송수 오늘 마음바나 니베 난 수술라 자와 드라메다
We see here kind of two root texts which is not in the Tibetan text that Geshe-la has. Geshe-la said he's looking at the two texts, one by Pabonga Rinpoche and another one. And this kind of reflects that this text that we are studying is one of the commentaries to the root text, which is most kind of complete, most detailed. And His Holiness, when he gave teaching on 7, this point 1 training text, he talked about seeing at least 3 different root texts, and all different and not same. So this one, as we see, kind of more kind of extra verses even within the root text.
니데 니마임발라 단주제 말에 녀모노 단주제 거래 시디갈라 다니 또바 헤시드와 어떤데 이나 자 아저든 라이 수니 이 파르마레스 데 같이 세 왕게 가서 차단기 그래 데라 아니베 에 가서 가서 방야다 텐디제요 말에서 말 디제 거래스 딘디기 차단 다닌 파르말라 차단기나 어때 차단데 계주교 말했었다 같이 뜻이 그랬어 그러위 질 그러위 출근라 네바메지 제가도 나이나 네바 어쨌든 어디 리도아 네바메 다디 아니 된대기 아랑초라 차 진초라 장즈데 차랑텔라 애니베 가르잖아 코 디 니케와 조바레스 디 조바에 가르잖아 차방 강 계신 라인 코란라 구리미와 말은 뭐 봐요 말이 제사 내가 매인자 딱 때문에요 말어 아주 겨왕같이 아주 미기 통하신 겨왕같이 통해서 요 말이지 아니 겨왕같이다 그도 진이 유용데 가라 니니 마마체 바래 니니 파마체 바래 주주사 균메서 딘디 남배 주인나라 머규 선전 탐제 거긴 코란라 머규 선전 탐제 시고 거긴 코란라 머규 선전 탐제 제인가라 다 자zen 주주 삼이도 년 사도도 말이 선전단에 마차서데 다 주주 삼이도 두스전에 와야 삼야 일단 양이양도 삼다나 아니까 딘디에는 주주 서데 하체 니티 신도건 서리 지 용서로 마오바나 삼마다나 와서 딘디가 다니 강라 엔베 차나 기진 다니 코란라 계약인 라다 년서사 지사 코란라 그림이와 말이지 그림이가 말이지 이 그림에 보다 제가도 다니랑 내가비 치데 판이 그 많이 주만이 교환 던질 바에 니시당 도파 니투 치비 텔레투 프로와다니 네파 가마치 예수 와다 디송도 네 차강 코로나다 대긴 타고 올라 차강 깡 깨세기 애니베 다다 년시야나 네바 메티고라 같이 차스다 자세야지다 타투기 타데 치 주젠 다지다 타투 디리시야지다 코랑은 좀 되긴지 윤미도 데이가라다 산타나 네모 삼다나 마기 선제 탐제 시야데라 와야 시가와라 개와 마마라 나치라 네바 네바 건처럼 빠다 지티 미히 시기였어 맞아요 덴디기 미히 시에 코아지다 네게 있는데 와다 원이잖아 덴디 시기였어
저기 금제 탐제 시험바치를 금제는 딜러저고 그거서 랑젠진라 랑젠진이 금젠치는 랑젠진이 금젠되게 세상면서 오래라 텐디 디와드 시에송보다 엔터니 파마이도 인지디나 건조 체인도 시켜주시오
나
금제 탐제 시험바치를 금젠쇼로 가르 금제 랑젠진 최고의 금젠쇼로 되게
진지 말다 진지
랑젠진 금제 시험바치 오래라 들으시다 랑젠진이 금젠디 며 쇠답라는 가르쳐 올라는 자니 파마 디시쇼로
두사다 란진진 두고
그래 디마디 제셰 도스키아샤레 인지 나올 첸세로 당시 그게 나올 세우면도 금제 탐제 시험바치도 금제 가르 시험고 시험 매워 쓰고 보면쇼로
인주다 란진 두사가 고 계산에 딱 란진진 이기고 두사가 란진진 두고 왔는데 란진진 두고 왔는데 와서 그냥 뭐마데 자님 파르마데라 teni kigor ranchinzi yobi tengin danyen parmade yongware danyen parmade yesam danyen ki korang yo marzedi danyen la ngeba meba tu yong dikala ta ranchinzi moni te chigore ani da se de miti zutu se korang mani dikala ti miti di shi dosara shi dugu do ta ta maso jila tu de shi dosara ta shi yesawa
subjugate all the reasons. That's in Tibetan that is, but in your English there's a clarification. Reason for, and then it says selfishness. We should suppress every instance of attachment and hatred that gives rise to exaggerated prejudices about friends, foes, or strangers. The attractive and unattractive. This is because worldly phenomena in general are unreliable, and relations between friends and foes in particular are uncertain. Subjugate or destroy all those kind of reasons, and the reason that is used by selfishness. So, destructions of the reason that is used by selfishness in order to validate selfishness. And through that selfishness comes, exaggerations, prejudices about all, in every kind of relationships, um, friends, foes, strangers, attractive, unattractive. And here, especially talking from the Buddhist perspective of many kind of, rebirth cycle. When you look, with that kind of perspective understanding, we take many kind of rebirths again and again. And under that, context, the relationship that we so considered kind of solid, self-sufficient, independent, is not a such way in reality. A relationship is, as mentioned here, it's really unreliable, uncertain. There is no certainty in that. Looking from a very kind of a broad period of a lifetime, and with that kind of perspective, we can sort of destroy this thought of looking at relationship and it's being so kind of solid, self-sufficient, having its own intrinsic nature, and therefore having grudges and all kind of these bias and prejudices, exaggerations. So to kind of quote or to prove that, there's a quotation from Friendly Letters, a text by Nagarjuna, as the Friendly Letter says, "Your father becomes your son, your mother your wife, and your enemies become friends. The opposite also take place." The opposite of everything that is mentioned here. Therefore, in cyclic existence, there is no certainty at all. So in the cycle of existence in samsara, in this cycle of rebirth and rebirth, there is no really kind of certainty, in a sense that there is no enemy which is enemy for all the time. It's uncertain. So with that kind of understanding, it might be helpful to kind of destroy the sense of exaggerations, prejudices that we have of relationship. We could be able to destroy with this kind of understanding. The one that does exaggeration, brings prejudices, is we can say selfishness, self-grasping mind, or grasping to permanent. Those are all kind of distorted misconceptions that kind of brings or give rises to all of these exaggerations. And relationship that we have when looking from again the long cycle of rebirth, because of very short temporary factors, we identify some as our friends, relatives, and then very short temporary factors and conditions we consider them as enemies and foes. But those are all as mentioned here, is exaggerations, prejudices created by selfishness and self-grasping thought.
이거는 merta 군대 쓰고 너다 이 시작비는 매년지라 에네베 바상세 따로도 뭐만 더 뜻이 않고 보다 너 땅에는 시작매겐 러시 이거라 때라 이 비전지비 차랑 기고 해야 돼 간지 말이 봐 이 공부 가서 차랑 기고 시작비는 요말 바로 시작 요말 예 nyumun ke yu mema de la shisa yo mare tati medical ati lo chinchi lo tape tunga de nyo do ba tati ita semde du wala se he te tu wala yu mema
In strict kind of understanding in Tibetan context, the word exaggeration refers to claiming something doesn't exist even though they do exist in reality. That is what we usually, in a strict narrow sense, what we mean by exaggeration. Claiming something doesn't exist although they exist. And then there's the opposite of that thing. Claiming that something doesn't exist even if they exist. Should I say the right thing? The exaggeration is claiming something exists when it is not. And then the other opposite is probably maybe a nihilist. Even though they exist, then claiming that they are not, they doesn't exist. So both of these two are, in itself is a distorted misconception. And so this kind of exaggeration being kind of coming out from very root, which is self-grasping or selfishness. When we look at the selfishness or self-grasping itself, these distorted view are without any valid ground, valid kind of foundation. So they were whatever that kind of springs up or arises from this foundation that becomes distorted further, kind of and therefore we talk about training of the mind or training of the thought. Choose yours, choose.